Welcome to Secrets of the Eternal. Explore the truths and mysteries of the universe. Did you know that before winter, millions of birds and insects in the most extreme latitudes fly, not towards the equator, but towards the poles, and that these animals, when given tracking devices, lose their tracking signal? Did you know that mosquitoes in the northernmost landmass, Greenland, are so large and aggressive they can take out a caribou calf? And did you know that explorers at the South Pole have reported that after a certain latitude, the sub-zero temperatures suddenly rise dramatically, yielding green, iceless land areas and lakes? This strange evidence of warmer regions all indicates that the North and South Pole may hold secrets beyond the idea of Santa Claus. In fact, they support a theory about Earth that some of the most celebrated geologists and astronomers have believed, that Earth is a spherical, spacious planetary body with enormous, continent-sized caverns deep within it and large entrances miles across at the North and South Pole. They say inner Earth has water, oceans, and luminosity, and that it sustains not only plants and animals, but also intelligent life. If this sounds like heresy, lay aside what you think you know, and we'll show you the evidence, the scientists, the legends, and the testimonies behind the inner Earth theory, so that you can see why it may be the most game-changing information ever concealed from common knowledge, that miles beneath your feet are ideal conditions for a life-sustaining and inhabitable inner Earth. Who wasn't taught that gravity is what makes an apple fall? We've believed this for roughly 300 to 400 years, since Isaac Newton defined it and its relationship to mass. Well, in 2017, two neutron stars collided and proved that it's not a force. It's actually a distortion in space-time. According to Einstein, an apple falls from a tree because the apple is responding to a curvature of space-time caused by the planet's mass. There's no attractive force called gravity. Fair to say, that's a massive paradigm shift. So, if we were wrong about gravity, could we be wrong about other theories, particularly those that involve it? How do we measure Earth's mass? Today, the Cavendish experiment measures the mass of one object based on its tug to another. But even before redefining gravity, this theory had flaws. The gravitational conditions in a science lab are nothing like the conditions in space, and the theory assumes that each particle exerts a fixed force upon all others, ruling out the very real possibility that particles near the surface of a planet might exert a force greater than those deep within it. So, if gravity is no longer a valid theory, and it's used to determine mass, and the mass of the Earth is overstated, then it follows that the masses of all other planets in the solar system are also overstated. If the Earth is cavernous or hollow, then so too is every other planet in the solar system. Some of the greatest scientific minds have challenged the theory of a dense Earth. Around the same time as Newton, geophysicist, mathematician, and astronomer Edmund Halley, who predicted the orbit of his comet, said the magnetic anomalies of the Earth could only be the result of a different composition. He believed that, beneath the Earth's crust, were two thick, concentric shells, and that each region potentially had its own atmosphere, luminosity, and was possibly even inhabited. If this idea sounds crazy, check out this NASA video showing Saturn's North Pole, with the exact counter-rotating fields that Halley described. And in this rare NASA video of Jupiter's pole, you can count up to 15 of these counter-rotating cylinders. Halley also speculated that the poles would provide access into Earth, and that the aurora borealis resulted from light emanating from this counter-rotation, exactly as it does in the videos of these other planets. Watch this NASA video closely, and you'll notice that the australis borealis appears to clearly emanate from a dark point on the planet. If you overlay a map on the planet, it's precisely at the point of the South Pole. 100 years later, Swiss mathematician and physicist Leonhard Euler, still considered one of the greatest mathematicians of all time, also proposed that Earth was completely hollow, with a central sun in the interior. Similar to Halley's theory, Euler agreed that holes at the North and South Poles would provide access to it. Johannes Carl Friedrich Gauss, Germany's most influential mathematician in the early 1800s, stated, "All of our Earth's history, physics, and geography could be explained by Earth being a hollow planet, with entrances at the poles." Naturally, satellite images of the poles are going to disprove this craziness, right? Well, there's a problem. NASA's images and videos of the poles are rare. They're hard to find. But when they are revealed, they often show cloud cover, ice cover, or questionable anomalies, such as simply being blotted out. Stranger still, no planes or satellites are permitted to come within a certain distance of the poles. In November 1968, a satellite photo of the North Pole was released. It showed a large polar opening in the absence of cloud cover. While it's possible a trick of time-based photography created this illusion, subsequent satellite images showing serious anomalies raise further questions, particularly one from the Russian space station Mir in 1987, showing light emanating in a very mysterious fashion. Then there are other NASA images of Venus, Jupiter, and various moons, all demonstrating strange characteristics or blotted-out poles. For example, how is it possible to have perfectly hexagonal angles on Saturn? Why do images from space consistently conceal their poles? For instance, one of Jupiter reveals light emanating from its center but features an overtly blotted-out area. Was Edgar Allan Poe correct when he said, "Sometimes the best hiding place is the one that's in plain sight"? Another anomaly in measuring Earth's mass arises when studying earthquakes. Since the early 1900s, seismograph readings have confirmed that Earth does have some density. However, instead of providing clarity, the findings have raised even more questions. Here's why. When an earthquake occurs, seismic waves spread outward and are measurable, but then the signals disappear entirely, only to reappear further along. These shadow zones are theorized to occur due to the waves striking a molten core, with complex mathematics attempting to explain the phenomenon. Even so, there remain many inconsistencies in seismograph readings. It's not a tidy science. Could the simplest explanations be overlooked within these complexities? Do the existing evidence regarding polar and planetary anomalies hint at something entirely different? Secrets of the Eternal invites you to delve into these mysteries and explore both the truths and the enigmas of the universe. If the possibility of inner oceans sounds strange, take note. The first of the deepest holes so ever drilled into Earth was in Russia, beginning in 1970. It was called the Kola Super Deep Borehole, and it took 20 years to complete. As is often the case when humans venture into the unknown, Kola left a few scientific theories in ruin. They discovered unprecedented heat, fossils at depths 8 miles down, and the surprising result, water at far deeper depths than had previously been assumed. Then, in 2014, a team of 20 U.S. geophysicists, using seismic readings, discovered large bodies of water 400 miles into the Earth. They concluded that the mantle transition zone, a rock layer between 400 and 700 kilometers below the Earth's surface, could hold 3 times the amount of water in the world's oceans. One of the team's scientists said, "This is direct evidence supporting the hypothesis that the deep Earth holds a lot of water." Modern science can't confirm the physical structure of Earth's interior as a fact, and there are many questions about the existing theory. For example, a forming planet has zero gravity in its center, so its mass accumulates where gravitational and centrifugal forces are balanced, creating a sphere with openings at the top and bottom, like a hurricane of matter in space, not as a solid body. This energetic flow, the torus, is a self-organizing system in nature where energy expands and returns to itself. We see it every day, in an orange, a whirlpool, a tornado. It's in the atom, the galaxy. None of these is a dense system. Let's consider another possibility. Over millions of years, the planet has succumbed to a combination of forces responsible for shaping it: heating, cooling, convection, carving by lava, running water, and glaciers, but also centrifugal forces, which create inner spaces in a mass revolving on an axis. These natural forces could make a planet more like a honeycomb or Swiss cheese than a perfectly solid rock. So, current models of Earth's interior are not fact, they're theories. In the meantime, look at the facts you do know. Every continent has extensive cavernous networks like Son Doong Cave in Vietnam, with its jungles, rivers, and space to fit a 40-story skyscraper. And there's Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, USA, which is even longer than the 400 miles that have so far been explored. Who's to say these spectacular naturally occurring spaces are not found at deeper depths? According to the laws of physics, empty spaces are unnatural in nature, so caves have their own ecosystems and water bodies, plant life, and animal life. If they extend deep into the Earth, life will still sustain itself, adapting to its environment in ways we can only begin to imagine. Secrets of the Eternal invites you to think about these possibilities and dive deeper into the truths and mysteries of our universe. Even the most inhospitable depths of the ocean have life forms and creatures that have adapted to the darkness by creating their own luminosity. As Aristotle said, nature abhors a vacuum. Wherever there is a void, the universe seeks to fill it. So, if enormous caverns, like those we already know of, continue on to reach deep into the Earth, what then could be residing in the space miles beneath our feet? Since we're prohibited from flying over or seeing the poles, and we're prohibited from exploring caves without permits or assigned guides, how might we know what exists in inner Earth? Interestingly enough, many of the accounts of this strange, unique land have been told by very respected, credible people. But first, let's look at history. Almost every ancient culture shares legends about interactions with subterranean races. Clearly, some of these are considered to be purgatory for sinners, attempts to deter people from wrongdoing. But other legends, those about Agartha, with its cities, Shambhala and Potala, have striking resemblances no matter which continent they originate from. In all legends, these civilizations tell of two beings, very tall giants or very advanced reptilian races. The word Agartha is of Buddhist origin. True Buddhists fervently believe in this subterranean empire, which they say has millions of inhabitants and many cities, including the capital Shambhala, where a supreme ruler dwells. They believe the Dalai Lama is his terrestrial representative, and his messages are transmitted to the lamas in Tibet. They believe that they've been there for thousands of years, sheltering humanity since the terrestrial cataclysms. The Russian artist, philosopher, and explorer Nicholas Roerich published that a Tibetan lama revealed the capital of Tibet was connected by a tunnel with Shambhala, the heart of the subterranean empire of Agartha, and that the entrance of this tunnel was guarded by lamas sworn to keep its actual whereabouts a secret from outsiders. Those who are led to this underground passage travel deep into Earth through areas where it becomes so narrow it can be difficult to pass through. According to Tibetans, Shambhala is a physical place, but one that also has an ethereal nature, given its location inside this holistic, evolving planet. Given our understanding of how matter can be worked in space and time by mass, this could make sense. One Gnostic scholar explains, the underworld is a plane between spirit and our reality, an area where the ethers of spirit become nature, and nature returns back to spirit, making it both a physical and an apparitional realm. In the ancient epic poem, the Mahabharata, the Hindus also spoke of Aryavata, the abode of the excellent ones, which was said to be ruled by a supernal race, the Nagas, a half-human, half-reptilian species depicted with jeweled hoods that light their realm. It's said the Nagas possessed cutting-edge technology and had an unpredictable and sometimes merciless nature, known to abduct and torture humans, while at other times acting as protectors and bearers of immense wisdom. Perhaps these ancient myths are less mythical than we've been led to believe, hiding deeper truths about the unexplored mysteries of our planet. Secrets of the Eternal invites you to explore these possibilities as we continue to uncover the enigmatic truths hidden beneath our feet. It's said the Nagas possessed cutting-edge technology and had an unpredictable, sometimes merciless nature, known to abduct and torture humans, while at other times influencing positive events on Earth. It's also said they inhabited Patala. Perhaps it's not a coincidence, then, that the name of the palace where the lamas guard the tunnel entrances is the Patala Palace. It raises questions about the motivations of the Chinese government when they violently overthrew Tibet's peaceful leaders in the 1950s, a coup which may have cost up to 1 million Tibetan lives. Another Indian epic, the Ramayana, tells the story of the great avatar Rama, a blue-skinned emissary from Agartha who arrived on an air vehicle. These air vehicles were called vimanas, which means a car or a chariot of the gods, carrying its occupant through the air. Strangely, flying airships have remained a consistent part of all Inner Earth stories, every one of them. In Africa, a similar tunnel was believed to connect the secret chambers at the base of the Pyramid of Giza with the subterranean world, through which the pharaohs established contact with the gods of the underworld. Ancient Egyptian deities like Ra, Thoth, and Anubis had qualities unlike humans: unique height, skin coloring, eyes, and often avian or bird-like heads. Another mystery occurred in 185 AD, when the Viking explorer Eric the Red discovered Greenland. By 1410, there were anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 Viking colonists on Greenland's shores. However, that was the last date any of the Viking settlers of Greenland were ever seen. All their villages were found abandoned, and their disappearance has become one of the largest unsolved mysteries in our recent history. That is, unless you ask the native people of Greenland, the Inuits. According to these Eskimos, the white men swarmed suddenly northwards to a wonderland that the natives had long known about. They call it the land of endless summer, rich with vegetation and game. According to their legend, these colonists were lured to a land of eternal bliss inside the protective womb of the earth. In the 12th century, an unusual story of underworld beings appeared in Suffolk, England, and remains a part of the town's history today. The children of Wool Pit. Reapers in the area one day discovered two small children with pale green-hued skin, speaking an unknown language, and though starving, they would eat only raw beans. The boy soon died, but after many years of adaptation, the surviving girl explained that she and her brother had come from a subterranean land where the sun never shone and where the light resembled twilight. She said they had become lost after following their cattle into a cave, eventually emerging into the bright landscape. In the 1908 book, The Smoky God, Willis George Emerson tells the story of Olaf Jansson's incredible journey to Agartha and the 2 years he spent living there with his father. Jansson and his father were traveling in their small fishing boat, attempting to find the land beyond the north wind when a violent windstorm overtook them. What they discovered next is said to be one of the most detailed and vivid accounts of time spent in Inner Earth, and perhaps one of the most mysterious explorations ever recorded. Secrets of the Eternal encourages you to question and uncover these strikingly strange stories as we unravel the truths hidden within and beneath our world. In the 1908 book, The Smoky God, Willis George Emerson tells the story of Olaf Jansson's incredible journey to Agartha and the 2 years he spent living there with his father. Jansson and his father were traveling in their small fishing boat in an attempt to find the land beyond the north wind when a windstorm carried them through a polar opening into the interior of the earth. There, they met what he called the Elder Race, friendly, intelligent, lanky 12-foot giants. He later explained that their immense height could be attributed to a unique electrical energy field present inside the Earth. He also claimed these giants could live up to 800 years. Jansson described the inner world as warm, with rain once a day and a highly charged electrical atmosphere that supported immense vegetation. The title of the book, Smoky God, refers to the inner world's glowing, smoky sun. Most fascinating was his account of fast, noiseless flying objects he encountered. These vehicles had revolving fan-like wheels capable of destroying atmospheric pressure, or what he referred to as gravitation, which allowed them to remain balanced and upright. After 2 years living among the beings in Agartha, Jansson and his father attempted to return to the surface world. However, tragedy struck on their journey back when their boat collided with an iceberg, claiming his father's life. Jansson himself was rescued by fishermen, but his story brought ridicule upon him. Declared insane, he was confined to a mental asylum for 28 years. Only at age 90 did he share his life's tale with Emerson, providing maps and manuscripts of the Earth's interior. Around the same time, Nobel Prize laureate and Norwegian explorer Dr. Fridtjof Nansen embarked on an expedition to reach the North Pole in 1895. Nansen, however, encountered strange occurrences that defied all explanation, discovering uncharted land that did not match any map, and experiencing sudden rises in temperature that turned the bitter Arctic cold unbearably warm. His accounts, though cryptic, fueled intrigue about what lay beyond the known geography of the poles. Meanwhile, deep in the Amazon jungle, the ancient Makushi Indians carried on traditions of guarding what they declared to be an entrance to inner Earth. Isolated from contemporary civilizations until recently, the Makushi claim that reaching inner Earth requires a 15-day journey through winding caverns. These paths are said to lead to a realm lit by balls of glowing light where vegetation thrives and a civilization of towering beings, some 12 to 15 feet tall, resides. The Makushi even describe encountering molten rock at deep depths, a detail remarkably consistent with geological findings. Without exposure to modern science, how could such truths permeate legends unless based on real experiences? Even into the early 20th century, the myths of subterranean realms continued to captivate seekers. After World War I, a group of German occultists founded the Thule Society, which explored esoteric sciences and mysterious openings leading to inner Earth. Drawing upon ancient Tibetan legends, they claimed knowledge from the East provided further evidence of such hidden realms. Secrets of the Eternal invites you to ponder these stories carefully, as they may hold slivers of forgotten truths woven into the rich tapestry of our mysterious world. Explore truths and mysteries of the universe with us, as we delve even deeper into these unexplained phenomena. After the First World War, a German occultist group known as the Thule Society emerged, delving deeply into paranormal sciences. They publicized Tibetan legends about openings into the earth and became increasingly obsessed with finding these entrances. German emissaries even traveled to Tibet, where they sought answers about accessing inner Earth. Over time, this group became connected to the rise of the Nazi regime. As the Third Reich expanded its military power and territorial dominance, Adolf Hitler himself ordered a team to find an inner Earth opening in Antarctica. Remarkably, a German U-boat commander, Heinrich Brodden, later claimed to have reached the Earth's interior, stating that the Earth is, in fact, hollow, while noting that their group had no desire to return to the surface. This narrative gained further weight with the creation of diagrams of Agartha drawn by a German scientist in 1935, reportedly corroborated by U-boat navigation experiences. Additionally, maps from the National Geographic Society, published in 1966 by famed cartographer Heinrich Byrd, showcased Antarctica not only without its thick ice sheet, but also detailed enormous underwater passageways spanning the entire continent. These passages intriguingly appeared to converge at a singular point identified as an entrance to inner Earth. The theory takes a darker turn when parts of these legends suggest that Hitler and many of his followers escaped Germany toward the end of World War II. The story claims they fled to Antarctica and entered into the Earth's interior. Following the war, the Allies discovered that over 2,000 scientists from Germany and Italy, along with nearly 1 million citizens, had vanished. The Hollow Earth Research Society in Canada believes that this culture persists inside the Earth, though not all were connected to the atrocities of the Nazis. For those guilty of war crimes, justice, they argue, must come from a higher moral authority. No discussion of the Inner Earth legend is complete without mentioning Admiral Richard Byrd, Jr., a pioneering American aviator and naval officer. Byrd led numerous expeditions to both polar regions and consistently kept detailed logs of his experiences. It was his personal diary, published posthumously by his son, that captured the imaginations of countless seekers. The diary recounts his 1947 expedition to the North Pole, where he observed geographical anomalies that defied conventional understanding. Byrd described being encountered by advanced flying craft that took control of his plane and escorted him to what he called the master of the inner Earth civilization. To dismiss this account, one would need to discredit the man behind it. Byrd was one of the most decorated military officers in U.S. history and a recipient of the Medal of Honor, the highest military award in the country. He fought with valor in both world wars and led two massive military expeditions to Antarctica post-World War II. Byrd was not a man prone to exaggeration. His logs were factual and devoid of embellishment. Secrets of the Eternal invites you to consider the significance of these accounts, to wonder whether humanity's understanding of the Earth is, in fact, incomplete. Could these gaps in knowledge hold a truth so profound it was never meant to be uncovered? Explore the truths and mysteries of the universe as we delve further into the unknown. Richard Byrd's story remains one of the most baffling accounts tied to the mysteries of inner Earth. His live television interview on the Longines chronoscope in 1954 only deepens the intrigue. There, Byrd described his exploration and spoke highly of what he called the land beyond the pole. His precise wording is perplexing. He didn't say, to the pole, around it, or near it. He said, beyond it. Byrd referred to this place as the land of everlasting mystery, a vast new territory as big as the United States, the most peaceful place in the world, and the center of the great unknown. These descriptions stand in sharp contrast to how one might expect a high-ranking military officer to describe a frozen, lifeless Arctic expanse. Why did he characterize this region in such unorthodox terms for someone so focused on military strategy and exploration? Even more strangely, Byrd called the expedition leading to this discovery the most important expedition in the history of the world. These statements raise important questions. Why would one of the world's most decorated military leaders, a man sworn to secrecy and integrity, risk his reputation with mysterious, hyperbolic remarks? Many have theorized that Byrd chose his words carefully, subtly hinting at the importance and mystery of what he witnessed, while still upholding his vow of national security. Could these words reveal a hidden truth, suppressed by forces larger than he? In February 1947, during a widely publicized press release, Byrd made another enigmatic statement. I'd like to see the land beyond the pole, the center of the great unknown. These words, carried by newspapers and radio broadcasts, left millions wondering about their significance. For anyone with a globe or map, it became clear there were no known lands within 200 miles of the North Pole. Even more puzzling was Byrd's claim that he had traveled 700 miles beyond the pole. At that distance, he should have seen nothing but ice, or perhaps open oceans. Instead, his logs described flying over lush green landscapes, complete with lakes and mountain ranges, an environment entirely at odds with the frozen north. What exactly could this uncharted expanse represent? Even before the release of this information, Byrd had already documented two previously unknown landmasses totaling 4,000 square miles. Rather than receiving public recognition akin to that of a modern-day Columbus, his discoveries seemingly vanished from attention. Could Byrd have been attempting to reveal a far greater truth without directly violating his military oath? Was anyone truly paying attention to what he was saying? Byrd's experience continues to fuel speculation. In 1956, Ray Palmer, editor of Flying Saucer magazine, delved into Byrd's comments further, exploring the possibility of unrevealed discoveries. Palmer suggested that this newfound land, described so vividly and dramatically, might be connected to the presence of unexplained phenomena witnessed at both ends of the Earth, perhaps related to the secrets of inner Earth. Secrets of the Eternal encourages you to look at Byrd's statements not as mere exaggerations, but as echoes of truths hidden in plain sight. Could these gaps in understanding hint at revelations that could redefine everything we know about our world? Explore the truths and mysteries of the universe with us as we uncover histories that challenge our current paradigms and reveal what lies beyond the known. Further compounding the mystery of Admiral Richard Byrd's career were the events surrounding Operation High Jump, conducted shortly after World War II. Officially, the stated purpose of the operation was to explore Antarctica, searching for coal and other resources while training military personnel and establishing research bases. This explanation, however, raises more questions than answers. Why would an ostensibly peaceful research mission require 33 aircraft, 13 Navy ships, and an astounding 5,000 soldiers? What's equally baffling is the significant number of lives reportedly lost during the mission. Though the story was downplayed in the United States, it was the Chilean press that hinted at troubles and clashes that resulted in many casualties, the nature of which remained shrouded in secrecy. Leaks later suggested that the true purpose of Operation High Jump was entirely different: to investigate and possibly retrieve missing Nazi leaders suspected of fleeing to Antarctica. These rumors raised eyebrows when leaks revealed U.S. forces may have encountered advanced saucer-like technologies that led to direct confrontations. While the government quickly labeled these rumors as mere speculation, details emerge painting a different and more unsettling picture. For instance, Byrd's 8-month mission was abruptly cut short, triggering suspicion. Adding to speculations, Byrd himself reportedly described attacks by highly advanced flying craft during this campaign, a claim bolstered by alleged statements to a Chilean newspaper, El Mercurio. In an interview with El Mercurio following Operation High Jump, Byrd issued an ominous warning. He stated that he didn't want to alarm the public unnecessarily, but shared that in the event of another global conflict, the United States could be attacked by flying objects traveling at unprecedented speeds from pole to pole. With such an extraordinary proclamation coming from one of the military's most respected figures, was Byrd simply attempting to sound an alarm or impress upon the public the gravity of advanced technologies he had supposedly encountered? Even more puzzling are the events surrounding the tragic fate of James Forrestal, the Secretary of Defense at the time. Forrestal reportedly began to talk about what had been witnessed in Antarctica during Operation High Jump. President Truman forced his resignation, after which Forrestal was confined to Bethesda Naval Hospital's psychiatric ward, entirely cut off from family, friends, and the outside world. His death was ruled a suicide, but the circumstances surrounding it have continued to prompt more questions than answers. Byrd, too, emerged from Operation High Jump shrouded in mystery. While he remained careful in his outward statements, his posthumous diary, published by his son, revealed a far more detailed account. Beginning with the ominous words, "I must write this diary in secrecy and obscurity." Byrd's writings hinted at extraordinary encounters during his Arctic flight on February 19, 1947. His descriptions of lush greenery and mysterious flying craft, the same claims suppressed throughout his lifetime, paint a picture of events that remain challenging to square with official narratives. So what are we to make of these cryptic details? Byrd's reflective military career, notorious for its integrity and reserved honesty, has left us with a series of breadcrumbs pointing toward a vastly unexplained reality. were his statements, and the haunting events surrounding Forrestal and Operation High Jump, a veiled attempt to share truths too large for the world to handle at the time. Secrets of the Eternal encourages you to reflect on these wartime secrets and enigmatic proclamations. Could places beyond the known hold truths more advanced than humanity is ready to face? Explore truths and mysteries of the universe as we continue uncovering the clues left behind by Byrd and others. Admiral Richard Byrd's posthumous diary reveals a series of extraordinary events and statements that continue to mystify those who read them. His account begins with a dire preamble. "I must write this diary in secrecy and obscurity. Perhaps it shall never see the light of public scrutiny, but I must do my duty here for all to read one day." It is clear that Byrd felt compelled to document what he had seen and experienced, despite fully understanding the potential consequences. According to his writings, this journey to the Arctic on February 19, 1947, was unlike any other. Traveling 1,700 miles, Byrd described his shock as the icy terrain below gave way to verdant forests, lakes, rivers, and mountain ranges, all teeming with life, including creatures thought long extinct, such as a mammoth. Strangely, he noted the vibrancy and inexplicable hues of the environment, marveling at what felt beyond comprehension. What truly startled Byrd was his sudden encounter with highly advanced craft flying alongside his plane. These craft, which he described as space vehicles, assumed control of his aircraft and escorted him safely to the interior of a massive city. Despite being astonished and disoriented, Byrd wrote of how he was graciously welcomed by the inhabitants of this mysterious land they called Agartha. He recounted meeting the ruler, referred to as the Master, who possessed an ancient and delicate demeanor. Byrd was explicitly told that his high ethical and moral character was the reason he had been allowed entry into Agartha, despite the barriers that ordinarily prevented such encounters. During this meeting, the Master expressed grave concern over humanity's trajectory, specifically citing the development and use of atomic weaponry, such as the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The Master claimed these actions had deeply troubled the advanced race within Agartha, as they feared for both humanity's survival and the planet's future. Byrd learned that previous interventions from these beings had been met with aggression, as their crafts were attacked by human military forces. Despite this history, Byrd was asked to deliver a message and a warning to humanity. If humanity continued down its destructive path, irreparable damage would be inflicted upon the Earth and its ecosystems. Byrd was guided back to his plane and returned to the external world. Upon his arrival, he briefed the Pentagon, delivering the Master's message to top security forces. However, the information was swiftly classified. Byrd described being interrogated by security personnel and subjected to a medical examination before being sworn to silence. He struggled with keeping his experiences and the truth hidden, later reflecting, "It has been completely against my values of moral right." A decade after his journey, feeling the weight of time, Byrd reportedly made his final diary entry. In this somber reflection, he lamented, "These last few years elapsed since 1947 have not been kind. This secret will not die with me, but as all truth shall, it will triumph, and so it shall. This can be the only hope for mankind. I have seen the truth, and it has quickened my spirit and has set me free." While outwardly he remained silent, his private writings reveal a man who struggled between loyalty to his military obligations and a profound commitment to sharing what he believed to be a truth of monumental significance. Secrets of the Eternal invites you to consider these entries carefully. Were Byrd's experiences real? And what implications might they carry for humanity? Do these accounts represent warnings we should heed, or wonders we might one day understand? Explore truths and mysteries of the universe as we continue this journey into the unknown, seeking answers to questions that have long been shrouded in secrecy and intrigue. Admiral Richard Byrd's diary contains an incredible, haunting closing statement. Reflecting on his experiences and the weight of the secret he carried, Byrd wrote, "These last few years, elapsed since 1947, have not been kind. I have faithfully kept this matter secret, as directed all these years. It has been completely against my values of moral right. But as all truth shall, it will triumph, and so it shall. This can be the only hope for mankind." Byrd described what he had witnessed as the land beyond the pole, a realm he referred to as the center of the great unknown. Byrd's sentiments provide a dire warning, but also a glimmer of hope that truth, no matter how hidden, will eventually come to light. Would such a decorated and moral man, or his son after him, fabricate such an elaborate story to tarnish a legacy built on valor and duty? It's hard to think so. Byrd's claims have also found corroboration in the spiritual accounts of Jewal Kul, or DK, an esoteric Tibetan teacher widely known through the works of Alice Bailey. DK's channeled teachings suggested that the phenomena Byrd described were indeed real. According to DK, there exists a sun within inner Earth, though unlike our sun, and the wide polar openings are concealed by natural energy fields that camouflage their presence. DK further indicated that vessels and planes could fly directly into these regions through entrances spaced across the globe, such as those located in Egypt, Tibet, the Yucatan, the Bermuda Triangle, the Soviet Union, and Africa. He also stated that the races living inside inner Earth were diverse, paralleling the variety of human cultures on the surface, and that some of them were extraordinarily tall. Perhaps most startling, DK confirmed that governments, including the US, were aware of inner Earth and its inhabitants, actively suppressing this knowledge alongside information about UFOs and extraterrestrials. Beyond Byrd, other enigmatic figures have furthered the mystery of inner Earth. One such individual was Dallas Thompson, a Californian personal trainer who recounted an extraordinary near-death experience. During his out-of-body journey, Thompson claimed to have witnessed visions of inner Earth. Profoundly impacted, he dedicated himself to researching Byrd's accounts and even began planning an expedition to locate the North Pole entrance himself. However, in 2003, after months of preparation, Thompson mysteriously vanished, and his plans were never completed. More recently, Corey Goode, a prominent whistleblower associated with the secret space program, has provided extensive accounts of inner Earth. According to Goode, Antarctica is home to an immense population, and advanced underground bases have been constructed there, as well as in other parts of the world. These bases, he claims, are inhabited by thousands of individuals, not just from the United States, but from nations participating in covert collaborations. Goode has also suggested that the ancient Mayans were not conquered as commonly believed. Rather, they retreated into inner Earth, where they continue to flourish. He described their crafts as resembling cylindrical, cigar-shaped rock structures, indicating a level of technological sophistication well beyond what is commonly understood. These accounts weave an intricate web of narratives connecting human history, spiritual teachings, and government secrecy. Secrets of the Eternal invites you to question the mysteries behind these stories. Were Byrd, Cool, Thompson, and Good pointing towards an interconnected reality concealed for centuries? Could inner Earth hold the key to enlightening humanity's path forward? Join us as we unravel these extraordinary accounts and explore truths and mysteries of the universe hidden beneath our very feet. Corey Good's revelations about inner Earth continue to expand the intrigue surrounding this concealed world. Among his noteworthy claims is the idea that Antarctica is home to an immense population residing in underground bases, built not just by the United States, but by multiple nations involved in covert collaborations. He presents a fascinating theory that the Mayan civilization did not vanish, but instead retreated into inner Earth. According to Good, the Mayans possess highly advanced crafts, cylindrical in shape, resembling long cigars. These technologically sophisticated vessels, he says, seem to mimic the recently observed phenomena of cylindrical objects entering our solar system from distant galaxies. Good also suggests a surprising explanation for the phenomenon of channeling. Many who believe they are communicating with extraterrestrials, like the Pleiadians, may actually be interacting with inner Earth beings, who intentionally disguise their origins to protect their hidden sanctuary. Goody has emphasized that a global disclosure of these truths would be an earth-shattering transformation for humanity, but one that he believes is absolutely necessary. He encourages humanity to view Earth as a maternal, living entity, one that calls us to reconnect with it. Good warns that humanity's quest for power and resources has fostered a disconnection from the natural world, causing disruptions to the Earth's delicate balance. At first glance, some may dismiss these stories as mere legend, fantastical tales too incredible to be true. Yet when considered alongside other evidence, they form a narrative that begins to explain many still puzzling phenomena. How else can we account for Earth's magnetic anomalies and shadow zones, the strange interruptions of seismic waves? These stories also offer potential insight into the mysteries of unidentified flying objects, many of which have been observed interfering with nuclear weapons. Could these crafts originate from just beneath our feet rather than distant stars? And what of the enduring questions surrounding Antarctica, the prohibitions against flying over the poles, and the deliberate omission of these regions in satellite imagery? The connections don't stop there. The unexplained disappearance of hundreds of thousands of Germans at the end of World War II aligns suspiciously with theories of civilizations within inner Earth. Even the Mayan calendar's chronicle of 4 Earth cataclysms and humanity's survival seems to lend credence to the idea that these beings may have played a role in preserving life during cycles of environmental devastation. Good's insights compel us to reconsider our understanding of Earth as not just a surface-level planet, but a world containing multitudes, ecosystems, civilizations, and histories hidden deep within. All this brings us back to one profound truth. The planet we call home is a mystery. Whether it's the scientific findings featured in Planet Earth documentaries or the unexplored depths of our oceans and caves, Earth continuously reveals how much we have yet to learn. Only a few hundred years ago, we mistakenly thought that sailing too far would send us off the edge of the world. Perhaps today's resistance to exploring stories of inner Earth mirrors that same reluctance to challenge prevailing beliefs. Exploring the science and stories of Hollow Earth has given us far more insight than we can summarize here. But Secrets of the Eternal invites you to continue your investigation. As the quantum physicist Richard Feynman once said, "If you thought that science was certain Well, that is just an error on your part. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you found value in this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell icon if you'd like to receive notifications about our future explorations into the truths and mysteries of the universe. The mysteries of Hollow Earth remind us that our quest for knowledge is far from over. At Secrets of the Eternal, we're dedicated to exploring the truths and mysteries of the universe, and we invite you to join us on this incredible journey. There's so much more to uncover, and your curiosity fuels this exploration. If you found today's video engaging, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon to stay updated on our newest releases. Every question leads us closer to understanding this extraordinary world we share. Thank you for being part of this adventure. And until next time, keep questioning, keep seeking, and keep exploring. Don't forget to like and subscribe.